Jeopardy! Fans have thrown dirt at the show over a questionable ruling about houseplants on Friday. Ken Jennings, 49, deemed contestant Kristen Husek wrong on a photo of a plant many fans said she correctly identified. Kristen, an attorney from Washington, D.C., faced William Cho, a foreign policy think tank research fellow from Cheverly, Maryland, and Dave Pye, a field applications scientist from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. The Jeopardy! Contestants originally won 1, 2, or 3 games in Season 37 or Season 38, getting a rare second chance via the ongoing Champions Wildcard Tournament. In Double Jeopardy, Kristen, hot off a $3,000 daily double, led with $11,200, whereas Dave had $8,000 and William had $3,000. The $1,600 clue under houseplants displayed a photo of a happy plant that had holes in the middle of some of its leaves. As it filled the screen, Ken read the clue. Though its name means loving tree, it's very popular indoors as a houseplant. That was a monstera plant. Kristen guessed monstera, which was ruled incorrect by Ken. The host bluntly said, "No," and the timer ran out with no other guesses. He explained, "That's philodendron." Kristen looked disappointed as her score was cut in a $3,600 swing had she been ruled correct. While the philodendron is known as the loving tree fitting the clue, fans argued that the photo Jeopardy! Used was of a Monstera deliciosa. One fan wrote on X at Jeopardy that absolutely was photo of a monstera. #Monstera #Jeopardy! Another wrote, the image shown on at Jeopardy is a monstera which actually is not a philodendron. You can tell the difference because monsteras have a Swiss cheese look and philodendron splits down the leaf. A third wrote, "Welp, the lady made a bad bet and answered wrong for final at Jeopardy, so it doesn't matter all that much." But while the clue was showing the meaning of philodendron, they absolutely showed a picture of a Monstera deliciosa. Justice for Kristen from DC. A fourth wrote, "Oh, Jeopardy gonna have to do a correction. This lady just correctly guessed at a pic of a Monstera deliciosa, but they said it was a philodendron, of which there are like 200 plus types, so waiting on that score correction for her." A fifth wrote, "I can't believe the clue wording and the pic shown with the clue didn't match up. Getting in the weeds." According to Better Homes and Gardens, the monstera is not, technically speaking, a philodendron at all. Both the monstera and true philodendrons are part of the arum family, a much larger group of plants. According to Planter Homa, the main difference between the two plants is the way that the leaves are split. Monstera leaves are fenestrated. Fenestration refers to the holes that develop in the leaves as they mature. Philodendron leaves do not have fenestration, or holes. A philodendron's leaves will only have gaps between the split fingers, no matter how old they are. Monstera deliciosa, meanwhile, does have holes, thus its nickname. However, split-leaf philodendron and Monstera deliciosa, also called the Swiss cheese plant, are often used interchangeably. As BHG continued, philodendrons are a pretty large genus of flowering plants, and while these plants are both completely different plants than monstera, they go by the same nickname in some cases. No wonder it's confusing. Thankfully, the ruling did not impact the game. Going into Final Jeopardy, Dave had $13,200, Kristen her $10,000 and William $3,600. Final Jeopardy! Under Languages of Asia read, meaning palace, this word in the name of a UNESCO World Heritage Site follows Jal and Lal in the names of other historic structures. Kristen wrote on Reddit that she had no hard feelings. "It's tough to go in the first game of the day, but Dave was dialed in on the buzzer from the first practice round that morning. Congrats on the win." Champions Wildcard will air in 4 legs and finish on December 18th, with 4 overall champions. Thursday's episode saw Josh Salk win the first round, nabbing $100,000 and a spot in the Tournament of Champions. Since the season 40 premiere last month, Jeopardy! Has been pulling contestants from past seasons and using old clues and clues that were previously written but never aired. This was a way around the writers' strike, which concluded 3 weeks ago. In the high-stakes world of Jeopardy, precision is paramount. The game, which has been a staple of American television for decades, thrives on its exacting standards of trivia and fairness. However, even the most seasoned hosts are not immune to controversy. Ken Jennings, the beloved reigning champion and guest host of the show, recently found himself in the middle of a storm when fans accused him of making a significant error in his ruling. The controversy centered around Kristen Husek, a contestant who was perceived by many as being unfairly penalized. As the debate unfolded, it became a captivating drama that tested the boundaries of fairness and accuracy in television's most revered quiz show. It all began during a particularly tense episode of Jeopardy, where Kristen Husek, a talented contestant known for her sharp wit and impressive knowledge, was engaged in a fierce battle for the top spot. The game was nearing its final moments, and tensions were high as the contestants approached the final Jeopardy round. With the stakes as high as they could get, every decision and ruling was scrutinized under a magnifying glass. The critical moment arrived when Husek buzzed in with her response during Final Jeopardy. Unfortunately, her answer was deemed incorrect by Jennings, who was serving as the host. This decision seemed to deal a harsh blow to Husek's chances, as it would significantly impact her final score and potentially determine her place in the game. Jennings, with his extensive experience as both a contestant and host, made the call with confidence. However, it wasn't long before a wave of discontent surfaced among Jeopardy fans. The issue at hand was a discrepancy between Husek's response and Jennings' ruling, leading many to question whether Husek had been unfairly penalized. The fans' concerns were not merely a knee-jerk reaction. The issue quickly snowballed into a full-fledged debate on social media platforms and dedicated Jeopardy fan forums. Fans meticulously reviewed the footage, dissected the ruling, and engaged in passionate discussions about the fairness of the call. What began as a simple disagreement evolved into a broader discussion about the integrity of the game and the role of its hosts in maintaining that integrity. The crux of the controversy lay in the interpretation of Husek's response. Many viewers argued that her answer, while perhaps not perfectly aligned with the official response, was close enough to merit consideration. They contended that Jennings' decision to rule it incorrect was too harsh, given the context of the game and the minor nature of the discrepancy. Supporters of Husek's position pointed out that other similar instances in past games had seen more lenient rulings. They argued that consistency was key and that if Husek's response had been treated in the same manner as previous borderline answers, she might have been given the benefit of the doubt. The discrepancy between what was considered acceptable in past games